2000 game for Coach K over in New York City, and that wasn't easy. That was an unbelievable battle there at Madison Square Garden. Then they had an emotional game with Notre Dame, and it was a special game. I mean, Notre Dame played brilliantly to win that game. Then they had to go 72 hours later to Virginia, who's undefeated. Then down 11, they come back, they win that game. Now they got to be very concerned, Bob, with a possible letdown. Just remember this, Miami came here and left with a big W, winning by 20. Well, let me tell you something. They beat Miami. They beat Miami, Georgia Tech, by 20 down there at Miami.
Controlling the tip was Marcus Georges-Hunt off the jump at center, and he has been red hot of late. 3 games in a row with 20 or more points, and according to Mike Krzyzewski, he generates about 50% of the offense for Georgia Tech. The finger roll won't go on the drive by Robert Sampson, one of the sons of Ralph. And it's out of bounds to Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. Boy, it seems like every single game there is another milestone for him to achieve. His 1,000th win against St. John's last weekend. If they win tonight, they'll pass Dean Smith for most ever wins in the ACC.
Every time he's on the floor, he's going to get another milestone. Passing Dean Smith. Look about Michelangelo, what a job he did at North Carolina. Really special.
Justice Winslow. Pretty move. Can't get it to go, though. And the rebound pulled down by Sampson, but the Yellow Jackets give it right back to Emile Jefferson.
They can't turn the ball over against Duke. Duke does a great job taking the turnover and converting on the offensive end.
Tyus Jones out to Cook. Emile Jefferson, an offensive rebound. That's the specialty for the Yellow Jackets, but they get burned by it there. Jefferson scores the game's first points.
Here comes some full court pressure. They're going to try to turn them over. Play with a lot of energy. That's what Mike wants, energy out of them. He doesn't want to be passive. I mean, there's so many minutes that you can play emotionally like they had last week. Every moment was an emotional moment.
Georges-Hunt goes strong to the basket. Some contact. Can't get it to go. Another putback try by DeMarco Cox wouldn't go down.
And they're a strong offensive rebounding team, as you said, Bob. They got to convert those.
Cook can't hit the triple. And a nice save on the baseline by Chris Bolden.
You talk about Heartbreak Hotel. They've lost 7 games, Georgia Tech, in the ACC by a total of 26 points. That's amazing when you think of Brian Gregory. You think about a guy that's really had to suffer going through that, losing the last game on a 25-foot jump shot by North Carolina State. Lacey nails one at the buzzer to beat up. In fact, they were up 2. They got the best free throw shooter on the line, and he misses 2 free throws with 4 seconds to go.
Marcus Georges-Hunt went down and was still down as the ball came up for Duke, as the right hand of Emile Jefferson caught him across the bridge of the nose, and he was still shaken up. The officials have come to the scorer's table just to take a look.
From here, certainly didn't look with any intent whatsoever, Bob. Tell you about Duke. You know, we talk about Okafor, but it's been the brilliant play of the diaper dandy, Tyus Jones. He has been off the charts. He has played lights out the last 4 games, 18 points a game, shooting better than 50% from the field, 40% plus from the three-point line, makes free throws, and is clutch late in the game.
Okafor might win National Player of the Year, but did you think that Tyus Jones was going to be this good this fast?
I thought he'd be very good. Obviously, he was a big-time high school player, but I did not think this well, that he'd play this well this early in his career. He's been sensational, especially in all the elite games. Every big game, he's responded with a positive performance.
That was a cold-blooded 3 he hit at John Paul Jones Arena. That was the dagger that got Duke an amazing come-from-behind road win. The first loss of the year for Virginia.
And that's a quality Virginia team. I'll be there on Saturday night against Saturday when they play Louisville. Can't wait to get down there with Davey O'Brien and Doris Burke.
Sampson out of the double team. Shot clock down to 10. Jorgensen trying to create. Has to give it up. Long jumper for Bolden. That goes down, and that gets Tech on the board.
He hasn't shot well this year, but he came in as a known shooter. Jorgensen's coming off some injuries. Starting now as of late and changing their starting lineup.
Okafor, soft touch, no good. The rebound pulled down by Quentin Stevens.
Very important at Georgia Tech, especially in this environment. Make sure that they play Duke basically even and keep that crowd a little bit silent.
Well, you talked about the heartbreak losses that they have had. Have you ever seen a team start off the season better, 9-3 in the non-conference, and then suffer this type of run of near misses once conference play started?
You think about it, Bob, double overtime to Notre Dame. I mean, we're talking about tough losses. 1 to Syracuse. You think about the game with North Carolina State at the buzzer. I mean, it's been one nightmare after another. And yet the kids, I asked them about morale. How do you keep their morale? And yet they've been scrapping and fighting. They got embarrassed one time, basically, and that was against Virginia when they put 28 points on the board.
Cox, yes.
Nice post move. He can, big wide body on the inside.
Okafor sets the screen, rolls to the bucket, and it's an offensive foul.
Great job defensively. When he rolled to the goal, they got great position. You know, it's an amazing story about Cox. Cox at the Barclays Center last year was MVP against Georgia Tech. He had such a big game against him. He was playing for Mississippi. So he's a fifth-year graduate student, now going for his MBA. Got the MVP there, had 13 rebounds against Georgia Tech. So they finally say, hey, you know what? Why not take him?
If you can't beat him, join him.
Join him, yeah.
Josh Heath comes on for the first time for Georgia Tech. He shares the point guard duties with Travis Jorgensen.
His dad working with us right now at ESPN. He used to coach at South Florida. That's where he started out. Transferred when his dad was let go at South Florida. Steady point guard, distributor.
And near scorer. Got the ball to the goal, and an offensive putback wouldn't go for Chuck Mitchell. Another chance for George's Hunt, but he turns it over. Here comes Quinn Cook. Draws some contact. They wave off the basket and say a foul on the floor.
Cook's always putting pressure on. He's attacking. That backcourt really blends well together, and they've made big plays, especially the game in St. John's. They were down double digits, and the game against Virginia. Made big threes, Cook and also Jones.
That foul on Bolden, his first. Okafor bumps with Cox and turns it over. Here comes George's Hunt. A little Euro step crossover and a chance for an old-fashioned three-point play.
He's been playing as well as anybody in the ACC in the last 3 games, as you alluded to earlier. Better than 20 points a game, attacking. Mike Krzyzewski very concerned about him. Said he puts pressure on you with his slashing, driving ability, and you've seen it right there.
How hard is it to deal with kids, especially freshmen, when they look in the standings and they see their opponent is 1-8 in the league? And Coach K, I'm sure, was driving home the point. You drove home. How many close losses? How many near misses? But can a team come out and maybe not take that seriously and sleepwalk a bit the way Duke seems to be at the start of this game?
Well, psychologically, it becomes a little bit of a dilemma. However, you're at home now and you're playing against a team, obviously talent-wise, doesn't match up to the guys like Okafor and company.
Okafor off the feed from Winslow.
Two-man play right there. Okafor, the best big player in the nation. Post player knows his strengths. I'll tell you one thing, Tom is, I spoke to him today, sings the praises. Brian Gregory used to be on his staff. He said he's a quality guy, knows the game, he's going to go through this tough time. Good defense right there by Winslow. He had a big game against Virginia. They're looking to attack off the bounce.
Bolden, a little floater, comes up short. Offensive rebound for George's Hunt. Finds Mitchell.
Nice look. Great two-man play. Interior passing. Tremendous pass by George's Hunt. Mitchell transfer as well. Marco Polo guy.
Tough floater goes down for Tyus Jones.
He's got a variety of shots, man. He's got more variety of shots than Baskin-Robbins has flavors. Ice cream. You kidding me?
The big guy Mitchell trying to go coast to coast. And here's Winslow. Justice Winslow holds off Mitchell. Mitchell commits the foul and will step aside. 3-point lead for Georgia Tech. And Dick Vitale's opinion of some big ACC news when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is
obviously involving some scenarios when you talk about illegal benefits. You're talking about academic improprieties. The situation is they're sending a message to the NCAA. Hey, look what we've done. We've penalized ourselves severely. And the one thing, be aware, none of the players currently on that roster are involved in any of this.
Jones just came on for the first time for Duke, and we'll take a closer look at the timeline that right now is being dealt with by Syracuse as Grayson Allen ends up with his own miss all the way out near midcourt.
You know, Jones has really been big for them off the bench. He hit some big shots against Louisville. We were down there for that game. Played a lot of zone in that game.
But back to the Syracuse investigation. This is something that the NCAA began investigating a year ago. Back in October, Syracuse appeared before the Committee on Infractions, reportedly for extra benefits and academic improprieties. Obviously, it seems as if they are trying to be proactive with maybe the results of that investigation looming. And the proactive step that they took leads you to believe that some pretty serious allegations that they're going to have to deal with.
Some people said that Val is an employee down at the YMCA in their area. We got Val with some cash. Players were visiting there. We're going to hear a lot of rumors right now, Bob, a lot of rumors.
Shot clock to 4. Quinn Cook is going to have to force one up. Instead, kicks it to the corner. And that does beat the timer. And it goes down for Matt Jones.
He has made big shots. He has really been a positive force off that bench. And losing Suleiman, he becomes very valuable to them. Same thing with a kid by the name of Grayson Allen. He's going to become very valuable to them.
Rasheed Suleiman just dismissed this week from Duke's program by Mike Krzyzewski.
First player in 34 years here at Duke that he's ever dismissed from the squad. So you know it had to be building, brewing for quite a while.
Marshall Plumlee called for the foul, and we talked to Coach K before the game. And you're right, he said that he's not going into the specifics as to why he dismissed Rasheed Suleiman, but he said it wasn't just one occurrence, one factor, that he would never do that it was a cumulative effect. As Jorgensen gives it up on the roll, and Chuck Mitchell has a chance to hang from the rim. He's got 4.
Nice play by Mitchell cutting to the basket, but Jorgensen made that play with his penetration. Mitchell transfer came by the way of Maryland. Very athletic, wanting to be close to home. His ailing grandmother ill. NCAA granted him immediate eligibility to play. There's a little two-man play. Penetration by Jorgensen, a little hook pass. Drive on the baseline, the catch and the dunk.
Todrick Jackson called for the foul.
You know, I get a kick out of, your administrators always talking about, we want our coaches to make sure the kids graduate. We want to make sure there are no problems academically. Well, you know what? Georgia Tech, I hope they're looking. Every player is graduating, APR over 1,000. But you know, the bottom line is they look at the W's and L's, man. Because Charlie Tooner, the alumnus, he screams and yells.
Matt Jones with the tip put-back follow. And that ties the game at 11.
Sometimes it gets so out of whack, the reality. The guy's doing everything right, running a clean program, graduating players, and yet there'll be some heat because the numbers don't add up.
Well, Brian Gregory right now is giving some heat to Mike Eads, who just called a moving screen on Travis Jorgensen.
Did a great job when he was at Dayton, the Flyers. Archie Miller has continued that. The Miller brothers are unbelievable. I met Sean Miller's his mother-in-law yesterday, and she was singing the praises. She wanted a picture. She was wearing an Arizona shirt. She says, hey, my son-in-law is Sean Miller.
Jones can't hit the 3, and it's tapped around and ends up with George's Hunt. Archie's got a pretty good thing going at Dayton as well.
Absolutely. This guy can drive with the ball. Number 3, he wants him to clear out. He wants to take him one-on-one. He wants to take him one-on-one. Give me the screen.
DeMarco Cox up, under, and around Okafor. Pretty good.
Cox did a great job. There's an area that Okafor's got to work on. Defensively, he's been a liability in many cases. He scores on the inside. He's got to be a better free throw shooter, and he's got to be a better defensive player with more awareness as to what's happening defensively.
Jones to Jones as Tyus finds Matt. Matt now has 7 from the corner. George's Hunt hits a 3, and that puts the Yellow Jackets back on top.
He's a scorer. He's got a scorer's mentality. I mean, Okafor's going to be a special player. He's a beautiful kid. He's got a great mind. Players love playing with him. He's very unselfish.
Emil Jefferson scores inside, and that's just what Coach K told us before the game has to happen. He said when you play with Jahlil Okafor, you're going to get some opportunities because of all the attention he draws, but you have to finish.
Yeah, he said you got to finalize and make the plays. He said Emil has not been finalizing like he's capable of.
Now you get a foul on Emil Jefferson near midcourt. Great start between Georgia Tech and Duke here at Cameron.
Hey, neighbor, LED bulbs save hundreds of dollars on your energy bill.
I saw a lookalike, I put it on Twitter today, about Mark Price. I saw a Mark Price player profile lookalike, Ryan McMahon of Cardinal Mooney, who I'm going to go see play Friday night. He went 9 for like 12 last night, 5 for 6 shooting the 3, and I'm telling you, he's a big-time player. All the coaches should get down to Cardinal Mooney, Sarasota, Florida. Mark Price waiting for you.
He must be pretty good, because I don't think I ever saw a player that had more of a textbook form on his jump shot than Mark Price.
That's exactly what McMahon has.
Amile Jefferson gets the roll.
Amile Jefferson having a big game here. Really attacking around the basket. He's finishing, finalizing. Something we talked with Coach K about, as you said earlier.
Only the second lead here in the first half for Duke. Agonizingly off the rim for Todrick Jackson, the freshman who's had a tough year. Okafor fouled hard from behind by DeMarco Cox. And Cox goes over to make sure that Okafor is okay. Good sportsmanship there.
Okafor really runs the court exceptionally well. He's got great hands. There's the foul from behind. Now this is an area he's got to really work at. The free throw line really hurt them in that game with Notre Dame at the end of the game. They missed a lot of key free throws. They're going to check the monitor to see whether or not that was flagrant. I don't believe it was. I believe the kid was just going, trying to make a defensive play and made contact and put him on the line. I think he was going for the ball. I think he was going for the ball. His body ran into him. A lot of contact, a lot of weight. Went over a good sportsmanlike as soon as he did it. Went over and grabbed him immediately.
And it looked as if it was a one replay decision with Brian Kersey and Mike Eads over at the monitor. And they're going to stick with just a 2-shot foul.
Boy, Duke has really dominated this series. They won the last 7 meetings, 5 of them by double figures. The last time Georgia Tech beat them was 2010. I will never forget the great battles they had when Bobby Cremins was on that sideline with those Georgia Tech teams. Bobby was so special, the job he did at Georgia Tech.
Unfortunately, in this rivalry, that's all the Georgia Tech fans have to look back to, because since 1997, the Yellow Jackets are 3-31 against Duke.
Wow.
Okafor comes up short. The pursuit of perfection continues for Kentucky. That's part of a great doubleheader coming up on Saturday. We start at 7. The Cards and the Cavs. And then Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. The Cats take on the Gators. Louisville, Virginia at 7. Kentucky, Florida at 9. Saturday on ESPN, the home court of college hoops.
I can't wait to get down to Virginia and see that team. That team is special. The way they defend, Brogdon certainly special. Anderson, Tony Bennett, what an amazing job he has done since his arrival in Charlottesville.
That game has a chance to be a war.
Rick Pitino's kids will never back away from anyone, never be intimidated. Rozier and Jones and Harrell. Oh, what a nice spin move. Should have went right to the basket.
Instead, shuffled his feet, called for the travel. That's 5 Georgia Tech turnovers.
He walked when he made that reverse turn. He should have went an initial move right to the goal. See, right now, Sponge should go right to the basket. And he came back. I don't know about lifting his pivot foot there. I don't know if I saw. I don't know. I got to go for some touches on the inside. Give him some touches.
Tyus Jones hits a 3.
Tyus said, hey, why touches? I'm going to shoot the 3. They came as a package, and what a package they are. Jones and Okafor decided out of the Scholastic ranks to join Duke. You want to pick up your dribble, that's a no-no.
Mitchell was somehow able to find Heath, who drives and scores.
Nice drive right there by Heath, right down the lane, gets the conversion.
You sense with Georgia Tech there can't ever be a moment in this game where Duke shakes loose. If they get down by double digits, they might not have the firepower to come back. They're at the bottom of the league in all of the big offensive categories in the ACC. And Duke, of course, across the board offensively at the top, second in scoring. Georgia Tech is 13th in scoring. They don't even average 65 points a game.
I'll tell you one thing, when you look at Duke, they've got some impressive road wins. When you win at Louisville, when you win at Wisconsin, when you win at Virginia, that means you're a team. You are capable of beating anyone on a neutral floor. But remember this, 2 of the last 3 years, they've been bounced out early in their first matchup in NCAA action against Mercer and against Lehigh. They take everybody's best hit.
Floater comes up short for Tyus Jones.
Everybody wants to knock down the Goliath, man. They want to knock him down. Shot selection is so important when you play against Duke. You got to get quality shots. Make sure you don't just play with impatience. That's what I love about Tyus Jones. He plays with such great poise.
The double team collapses on Charles Mitchell. Diagonal pass sets up Stevens. That's a brick. And over the back goes Mitchell.
You know, Stevens was big in a game this year against Georgia, against a good Georgia team who battled Kentucky without their star scorer, Thornton. But I will say this, in that game, he made 6 threes. 6 threes, so he's capable of making the three. He had a wide open look right there.
That foul on Charles Mitchell, his second, so he goes back to the bench as DeMarco Cox comes back in. And the combination of Cox and Mitchell too often hasn't been there for Brian Gregory. They have only had 5 games this year where both of their big front court guys have hit double figures in scoring.
Well, they're going to have to really produce here against the front court of Duke.
Justice Winslow buries a 3.
He was so good in his last 2 games. He played really well against Virginia.
Largest lead for Duke, under 8 to go here in the first half. Out of bounds, it'll stay with Georgia Tech when we come back, but Justice Winslow opening up a 6-point lead for the Blue Devils.
He's a special diaper dandy, Bob. He's a special diaper dandy. There he is with the jumper.
It's a big world out there. So why do some cashback cards limit where you can earn?
They've got a 6-point lead, and Dick, let's take a look at your diaper dandies so far this season. The freshmen that you feel have made the biggest impact.
Yeah, they've made such impacts everywhere they've been. Certainly Johnson in Arizona. We know about the Duke guys, Jones and Okafor. Russell is sensational from Ohio State, so smooth. Trimble's been a reason why Maryland's had a good season, even though they've slumped a little bit as of late. But those guys, to me, have been instant impacts. John Feinstein did a great article today about the one and done. I couldn't agree more. Dick Hoopsweiss and I wrote in my latest book, It's Awesome Baby, that we wish these guys would either go right out of high school to the NBA, but once they step in, go the route of the baseball rule, stay 3 years, get some stability to the game, help the NBA, help the college, and help the player.
Holden hits a 3. That's his second triple here in the first half. You're exactly right, though. It kills not only college basketball, it hurts the NBA as well when so many of these one-and-done players that aren't ready to play at that level jump to the pros.
Absolutely.
Offensive rebound for Plumlee, and whips a bounce pass to the corner.
Plumlee was one of the key guys why they came back. For example, it beat St. John's. You wouldn't see it in the box score, but he gave them energy. He gave them some rebounds. Take a look at Duke freshmen. Not bad players right there. It takes a little time for them to really make it in the NBA, except for Mr. Irving. He's going wild over there. Hey, Cleveland's starting to roll now. That group is starting to roll, Mr. James and company.
Well, remember, Kyrie Irving now, at this point, he's had some experience. Clearing some space and finding his own tip putback as Matt Jones. He's got 9 already here in the first half. He only averages 5 per game.
He's real positive off that bench.
He, of course, is getting some of those trickle-down minutes without Suleiman.
And he's making them really count. He's been very efficient on the floor.
Reach-in foul called on Plumlee. That's his second.
Going to take a look right here. Second effort, stays with it. And there's the tip. Came in with a big reputation as a three-point shooter. This big screen up on top.
Bolden with a brick, but the follow in one motion by Quentin Stevens. That's his first bucket, and it's a one-possession game again. Okafor allows the flyby and throws it down.
Can't allow him, Bob, just to run the court like that, make that kind of catch and get the dunk. Quick timeout, a good timeout. Defensively, you got to get back in transition.
Brian Gregory not at all pleased with his yellow jersey.
You know, the presence of Okafor just being on the floor creates space for his teammates. His presence attracts so much attention.
Bolden had his pocket picked by Quinn Cook, but the fortunate bounce to Georges Hunt.
Miami came in here, put 90 points on the board against Duke, beat him by 16.
Georges Hunt tied up and the ball ripped away by Justice Winslow. Winslow crosses over and finishes.
That's a big-time play right there. He made a big-time play on the defensive end. Then he went to the offensive end, and he got the score. And now he becomes big man on campus. And the Cameron Crazies are jumping with joy.
Cook takes it away from Jorgensen. Winslow with the putback. Another timeout called by Brian Gregory.
So quick, the way they get that turnover and convert on the offensive end. They just explode, turnover, and off we go, baby. Run, baby, run. Look at that drive to the goal by Mr. Winslow. Using the right hand. His left-handed player is so explosive in transition. It's a quality Duke basketball team. They had a little slip there when they lost those 2 games in a row when they got beat by North Carolina State in an emotional game. Both those losses, when you look at them, Bob, if you look and do research on them, in those 2 losses, they were hurt by the 3-point shot. And they gave up a lot of points in those 2 games.
Well, Duke just scored 6 points in 43 seconds to open up a 9-point lead. This is their largest lead. And think about where their program was, perception-wise nationally, when you talk about losing to NC State and also losing at home and having the long home court win streak broken by Miami. They were on their way to Louisville. And they were, in the eyes of many, a pretty big underdog. And they trounced Louisville. I mean, they controlled that game start to finish on the road. To your point, Dick, how good they've been at times away from Cameron.
And they had a 41-game win streak come to an end down here by Miami. But they showed a lot of heart and guts down there. Louisville was really ready to play, but they went to a zone. Mike Krzyzewski has done a number of things that are not really norm. I mean, playing the zone for about 75% of the game is a rarity for him.
A bad foul by Charles Mitchell. That's his 3rd. And it happened about 90 feet away from his defensive basket, just a cheap reach in. It's a 1-and-1 for Okafor, and now Charles Mitchell, you'd have to think, is done for the rest of the first half with his team on the verge of going down by double figures. If there's a hole in Okafor's game, it might be at the free throw line. Only shoots 56%, but that's nitpicking with the year that he's had.
Yeah, he's been terrific all year. Certainly defensively, he's got to do a little work. You know, I talked about those 2 losses. Miami shot 52% from the field. They made 10 out of 23s. North Carolina State in that game shot 55%, and they were 10 for 16 shooting the 3. That's what it's going to take to beat a quality team like Duke. You got to make shots from deep.
And Georgia Tech is the worst 3-point shooting team percentage-wise in the ACC, so that does not play to their strengths.
27%.
Bolden with a jump stop. Set up Jorgensen, who didn't even think about taking that one. Instead, he pulls up at the elbow and knocks it down.
Nice little jump shot right there. Squared his body really well, coming back from a serious injury. Sat out last year. Got hurt in a game against Dayton.
Okafor spins, and it rolls off the rim. Georges Hunt's got the rebound. Bolden from the corner.
He's made 2
offensive
so far.
Rebound for Sampson.
That's their strength. Sampson, the son of Ralph, one of the greatest ever in the ACC.
Nice move by Jorgensen to split the double team and bank it home. Back-to-back field goals for the redshirt freshman, and the lead is at 6.
He actually had the ACL surgery last December to start the season against Georgia. Strongest in. Promising freshman year came to a halt because of that knee injury.
Brian Gregory said he's just now at the point where he can give them 20 to 25 minutes of explosive basketball. They'll obviously need to build that up and get more. Here's Tyus Jones. Off the mark. Rebound to Sampson. And a chance for Georgia Tech to draw closer.
Ralph's in the house here, by the way, tonight. Nice drive, nice dish.
And a foul called on Emil Jefferson. 16 foul on Duke. 3:21 to go in the opening half. Blue Devils by 6.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John.
To the self-imposed sanctions that the Orange have put on themselves at the half.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. And there's Dad in the stands here to watch his son Robert. Ralph Sampson, 3-time AP Player of the Year at Virginia. He was at game day on Saturday when Duke took on the Cavaliers. Now he's at Cameron tonight.
Tell you one thing, Ralph, the only other guy to win the 3 times Player of the Year, our own big redhead, Mr. Walton. Ralph was special. He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. Should have been a lot sooner based on what he did as a collegiate. He was a dominant college player, dominant.
This feels, doesn't it, like a big 3 minutes for Georgia Tech before halftime. They were down.
You just beat me to the punch. I was going to talk about that. These 3 minutes are vital to this game. They're vital to them to get in the locker room knowing they got a shot. They can't allow Duke to go on one of those spurts. The Coach K got a little warm. The jacket's off.
Tyus Jones reaches in, puts Heath at the line. When I'm reading Dick Vitale's mind, that's a step forward in my career.
You're in trouble if you read my mind, because a lot of people tell you I don't have a mind. Mine all went to my wife and my daughters.
Josh Heath, of course, the son of Stan Heath, as Okafor checks back in. His father was his coach at South Florida, let go, and so he transferred to Georgia Tech, and as a result was given an immediate waiver to be able to play for Brian Gregory.
Sometimes you coach a situation, look at Stan in the house, really that is so tough to be able to win and survive. In South Florida, not an easy job.
Justice Winslow, nice pass out of the double team to Matt Jones. A long rebound pulled down by Chris Bolden.
That's one thing about Duke players, they're going to share the basketball. They're going to look for the quality big-time shot. He's got to drive right here. They're going to get the ball in Georgia's hands a little bit more.
Okafor pins Cox.
Ball movement, great ball movement.
Tyus Jones can't hit the 3. Run down in the corner by Matt Jones, gets it to Tyus.
He had Okafor right there. Watch the drop step. He does a great job. Go to the lane and then spin. Now watch the spin. He wants to spin. There it is, turn.
Gets his own miss.
Nobody blocks him out.
Tie up. And the arrow will keep it with Duke.
Tell you one thing about the Duke defense, when they hold an opposition below 74, they're 18-0. When the opponent scores 74 or more, they're 0-3. And one thing, as you said earlier, they have a very difficult time, Georgia Tech, scoring better than 65 points a game.
Especially if Marcus George's Hunt's only put up 3 shots here in the first half. As Winslow crosses over, leans in, draws the foul on Sampson, and he'll go to the line.
He's such a strong driver, knows how to utilize his body too when he gets in the lane. Now watch this right here, change direction, spin, he seals off the defense, drops his shoulder in, and so strong physically. I mean, man, he doesn't look like a kid right out of high school. He played high school basketball last year, Bob, are you kidding me? Played against guys like me.
The 2-time Texas Gatorade Player of the Year.
Everybody that recruited is Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, McDonald's. Wow, I was only hoping when I coached I could get a Wendy's.
But Suleiman was dismissed. A couple of people made note of the fact that Duke is basically down to 8 scholarship players. And the joke then became, yeah, that's fine. 8 McDonald's All-Americans. How many coaches around the country are going to cry a tear for Mike Krzyzewski only having 8-star players to deal with? As they're taking a look at the clock right now after they whistle, the clock kept running, so they'll add a few seconds. And now it is correctly set at 1:55. It's a nice problem to have. If you only have 8 scholarship players, if every single one of them are all state player of the years and McDonald's All-Americans, it's pretty good.
Make sure they're players, and they're players when they wear this uniform. And he's got 2 coming in next year. Remember the name, Kennard and Jeter. Not Derek Jeter, Chase Jeter. But if you have to be athlete that Derek was, he'd be pretty good. Big possession right here by Georgia Tech. Big possession. You're down 7, down 8 now after the free throw. Down 8, you got to make sure you don't want to go down double digits at halftime.
With the left hand, soft touch in the lane for DeMarco Cox.
Cox doing a good job in here with his body. Good post presence. Got to come up with a stop right now. They want to go into the big guy. He's got great hands. See the way he catches that ball in the post? He's dying to drop step.
Off the window, that won't go. Look at Winslow skying for the rebound.
Tremendous second effort there.
Matt Jones rejected, taken away by Sampson, and then he throws it off Jones, but they'll say he landed on the baseline, so it stays with Duke.
Nice little defensive play there by Sampson. Ralph's going to like that play of his son. Other son played at Minnesota.
Well, now we've got an officials conference. Let's see. Looked initially like a good call that he was standing on the baseline. And it looks like they will stay with the call that Sampson was out of bounds.
This environment reminds me of the world of baseball. You think about Fenway, you think about certainly Wrigley.
Jones fouled on the inbound by Heath. No, there's no question. This is one of those bucket list places for a sports fan at some point to see again.
Yeah, it's a terrific venue, no question, no doubt about it. Been here for many a game, and it's always been special to make this journey.
And Duke's not bad in this building. They're only 468-59 under Mike Krzyzewski.
It's not a bad record, is it?
Not too bad.
He's putting up some pretty good numbers. Hey, congratulations to Gino Auriemma. He got 900, and he's got a lot more in that tank, man. He's got a lot more in that tank. Herb McGee going for 1,000 on Saturday. Didn't happen for him yesterday. You talk about a guy that's a real solid coach from Philadelphia. 999 W's. Great teacher.
Bolden picks up his dribble. Plumlee's all over him. Throws it right through the legs of Cox for the 7th Georgia Tech turnover.
Just a bad possession right there. Come up empty. You don't even get a shot. Now you give them the opportunity to stretch this to double digits. Tell you one thing, they play hard. For a team that's 1-8 in the conference, they haven't laid down. They've come out and they've given it an effort.
Deflection and a much-needed takeaway for Georgia Tech. Here comes George's Hunt.
Yeah, Duke did a poor job in that possession.
With the left hand, only his 4th field goal attempt here in the first half. He has not been nearly as involved as Brian Gregory would probably want offensively. Having said that, Georgia Tech's only down by 6.
Yeah, one thing, you can see the kid's got great ability. I mean, Marcus has got tremendous ability. He's a driver, slasher. He's also a proud daddy. He's got a 1-year-old child.
Shot clock turned off. Duke has missed 8 of their last 10 shots.
Right now you want to come up with a stop, get a little momentum going in, being only down 6 on the road.
Tyus Jones turns it over. Plenty of time. As Bolden comes the other way. Gives it up. Sampson finishes.
Count it.
And they'll score the bucket.
Count it without a doubt. Nice play right there by Georgia Tech. Good 2 defensive plays. Ralph's going to like that. Oh, that big fella was so special. I'll never forget. One of the great games I've ever done in my life was Virginia, North Carolina, with Michael Jordan and company of Mr. Sampson. There's the play right here. That basket was good. That basket's good. He got that off before the clock went 0-0-0.
Boy, was he shoved in the back a little by Quinn Cook. They may have even gotten away with a foul and a chance possibly for Georgia Tech to finish the half with a 3-point play. A great end to the first half for Georgia Tech, as that game was teetering on the brink. Duke only by 4 in indoor stadium. 4-point lead for Duke at halftime over Georgia Tech. Bob Wischusen here with Dick Vitale. Not a bad first half for Georgia Tech, shooting 54% from the field.
Yeah, it's better than they've shot basically all year. And I really think when you look at Duke right now, they don't give many teams 54% at the half, but they're still up 4. And the reason they're up 4, transition. Taking the turnover and converting on the other end. As an example, did a great job taking the turnover. Watch Winslow right now. He said, forget about it. I'm just going to go coast to coast. I'm going to use my body, get right to the goal. And there he is scoring. I'm going to see another turnover right here. Going to take the ball. Duke does such an exceptional job from the turnover. And there's the conversion on the missed shot. And that has been a difference here in the game.
13 Duke points off of 9 first-half turnovers for Georgia Tech. And Marcus Georges-Hunt, not a big factor in the first half for Brian Gregory's team, and yet they're only down by 4.
I like the way Jorgensen passes the ball. He distributes it really well.
Cox can't hit with the left hand, and the rebound falls to Okafor.
Nice move by Cox, though, to get across that lane. You think about point guard play. They used to be point guard university. I mean, think about Kenny Anderson, Stephon Marbury. You think about Price. You think about Noodles Neal. You go on and on, man. There's so many great point guards.
That time the drop step called as a travel for Okafor. That's the 5th Duke turnover, but you're right. It is point guard you at Georgia Tech when you think about the tradition of great quarterback field generals out there that have run the point for this basketball team at times.
I think about Jared Jack. He played there as well. He's down in deep. He got the ball in deep. Okafor with excellent timing right there with the block shot.
Here's that great group you've talked about.
Wow, look at some of those names. Travis Best and Barry and Marbury and Jack. Kenny Anderson was so special. New York City phenom. Bobby Cremins, man, he was getting them out of New York City.
Bolden from the corner. He's got another 3.
That's 3 he's hitting this game. He's really been struggling this year shooting the 3. That's big. That's how upsets happen, man. That's how upsets happen. You better call your friends up. We got a good one here. Call your friends up. ESPN2. Tune in.
If Bolden keeps knocking down 3s, this game could get better and better for Georgia Tech as he came into tonight shooting 29%.
What are you trying to tell me? He's not a shooter.
Georges-Hunt is able to bank it off Winslow. Well, the guys for Georgia Tech that theoretically the numbers say aren't shooters, they keep shooting it.
Yeah.
And Bolden never is shy about putting it up.
I tell you one thing, they play really hard again. Another example is a coach. Part of coaching, if you define the talent of a coach, the ability to get people to perform to the best of their talents.
Bolden turns it over.
He was trying to throw the hook pass on a wide open guy in the wing.
Cook, a little behind the head pass to Okafor for the lay-in.
Why not flip it up to the big fella? He's got such great paws, man. He'd make some great tight end. Oh, would he be a tight end? Move Gronkowski out, get him.
Georges-Hunt, nice roll. And coming up short on the finger roll was Cox.
You got to score there. They did everything, the execution, except they didn't finalize the score.
Cook for 3. Georges-Hunt
got numbers.
Ahead to Bolden. The jump stop allows the flyby and lays it in.
He's playing well. He's really having an exceptional game.
Only the 5th game this season in double figures for Chris Bolden.
Go down screen. See, Jones a little quiet in games like this. Put him against the elite teams, and his game goes to another level. Against Wisconsin, against Connecticut, Michigan State, Virginia.
Cook out to Tyus Jones. Yes.
Well, he says right there, you know what? It's close, so I better turn my game up a notch. And he did. He is a special talent. He doesn't get the notoriety and the publicity, obviously, because of Okafor. But he is a flat-out, big-time impact type of dandy.
Georges-Hunt, and checked by Emil Jefferson. That's Jefferson's 3rd.
And watch Tyus Jones square up the body really well. Great arc, good follow-through. His numbers against the 7 marquee teams are off the charts.
Averaging close to 19 a game over his last 4 games. And part of that 17-point effort against Virginia was a great 3 towards the end of the game, as this time Cox makes sure to finish.
He finished big time. That was a big time flush right there, right in front of the Georgia Tech bench. They bring out those guys they got behind that bench. Mark Price and Sampson, man. Wow. Nice drive. Nice drive. Nobody rotated over. Ralph Sampson, one of the greatest. I look at him and I'm just amazed at what he did in Virginia in college. Was so special.
Cox at the free throw line. That's no good.
Little one-on-one right here.
Okafor tied up by Cox, but a foul called. We'll step aside. Jahlil Okafor shoots 2 when we come back to Duke.
Clippers Thunder at 1. Lakers.
They are in another one with Duke.
I'll tell you, it's amazing when you look there. Heartbreak Hotel. Unreal. That's the difference in having a decent season. You know, logically and realistically, go to bed at night, they can think and dream. They could literally be, I was looking at it, 6-3. They could be 6-3, a couple of baskets either way. That's the difference. Look at Notre Dame having a great year, winning close games. Purdue right now in a game are trying to get themselves in great position for an NCAA berth. This would be a big win if they can hold on and beat Ohio State. As Carl just reported, they're up 7.
Talking to Brian Gregory earlier today, though, he talked about a great attitude on the part of his players, that they keep on coming back with the same work ethic. How long can you sustain that if you keep on seeing no return on your investment, losing all of these single-digit games?
You know, he came in at a tough time, too. They came in and came down with a little NCAA problems in terms of football and basketball, took away some scholarships.
Heath on the drive. The high reverse won't go. Winslow's got the rebound, and here come the Blue Devils up 5.
You got to stop those spurts. Duke's capable of those big spurts.
Tyus Jones can't hit the mid-range floater. He passed up a wide-open 3. Cox goes at Okafor, gets him in the air, and he'll have a chance for a 3-point play.
He did a terrific job there with a good ball fake. He got Okafor up in the air, then he goes to the line. They found him when he played brilliantly against them at the Barclays Center. Played for Mississippi, graduate, now in graduate school. He's making Okafor have to play some defense in there, and some people are starting to challenge him around the basket, making him have to play defense.
Well, DeMarco Cox at 276 pounds. You're going to have to body up at least a bit, as he came up with his first double-double this season for Georgia Tech in the near miss against NC State. Rolling it home from the corner is Quinn Cook.
They really hurt you with that 3 ball. They did that to get back in the game after being down 11 with Virginia. Cook and Jones knocking down the 3s. They missed their first 9 threes in the game, and then they go 6 for 8 from the trifecta. That breaks your back, man. It gives you such momentum when that goes down.
The freshman on the drive, and Todrick Jackson with a chance at the line.
Cook going to spot up in the left corner along the baseline, catches it, nails it right in front of the Duke bench, and obviously they're jubilant. The beat goes on. I mean, you talk about Kentucky, you talk about Duke, you talk about North Carolina. They reload, they get the great players. Duke's got 2 great ones coming in already next year. Chase Jeter from out of Vegas, and also Luke Kennard.
Speaking of great ones,
they weren't bad. They were, look at him yawning. Look at him yawning there. Hey, come on now, man. It's a close game. You can't yawn. That's not fair. He's like Cameron. He's like Cameron. He's entitled to yawn. I yawn at times. You were talking about great ones. Certainly Jay Williams was special. Chris Duhon was a consummate, outstanding point guard.
Off the screen, Cook. And the rebound pulled down by DeMarco Cox again.
Cox really doing a solid job here. Not intimidated at all by Mr. Okafor. Oh, nice fake. Nice
Jackson
fake.
with the floater comes up short. He can't buy a basket this year. Only a freshman shooting 9% from 3. Here's Cook with the reverse.
He's a big-time player. He's made big plays for Duke all year long. All year long. Lionel Richie used to say all night long. Mr. Cook says all year long. He's out of the Windy City, out of Chicago.
Lionel Richie used to sing all night long. I invite you to do the same.
I saw him in concert. He was unbelievable.
Recently?
A few months back.
Here come the Blue Devils in transition.
Yes, sir. There's the catch. And there's Cook with the reverse layup. Lays it on the glass. They love playing with each other. He and Jones, really a great chemistry between them.
And now with the substitution, that gives Marcus Georges-Hunt a chance to spend some quality time with the Crazies.
I love to see backcourts that have that rhythm. You watch Louisville's backcourt. Rozier and Jones have that.
Georges-Hunt immediately double teams, splits the double team, and draws a foul on Winslow. That's his second.
He did a good job trying to split that double team with Plumlee in there. Plumlee, by the way, after his days here at Duke's going to be an officer in the military.
Back earlier in January, went through the ceremony that officially capped his time with the Duke ROTC.
Think about, to me, the two best coaches out there in college basketball and the NBA. You're talking Mike Krzyzewski and you're talking Popovich. There's a common denominator in both. Both went to military academies. West Point for Mike, Air Force Academy for Popovich, and I think they've taken that discipline right here. There's a ceremony right here for Mr. Plumlee.
Back on January 23rd, completed the Duke ROTC program, and his contract ceremony renders him as a commissioned member of the Army upon graduation. This guy at the line has to have a big last 13.5 minutes for Georgia Tech to have a chance. Marcus Georges-Hunt, he's 3 for 4 from the field, so he's been efficient, but only 4 field goal attempts for by far their leading scorer.
Well, they're doing a great job keeping the ball away from him. Duke trying to keep him, minimize the attempts he gets.
They challenged Jones from 3, and he couldn't make Mitchell pay.
I like the way Jorgensen plays with some poise.
Todrick Jackson tosses up an air ball.
No chance, no chance, no chance.
He's had a very rough freshman season. Tyus Jones has not had a rough freshman season, as he'll go back to the line.
Converts on the free throw line too. Real good free throw shooter. That's another strength of Duke late in the games. Both Cook and Jones are excellent free throw shooters.
89%.
It's not bad.
He's #1 in the ACC. Now, the only player on Duke's roster that's better is Quinn Cook at 93%, but Cook is just under the threshold to shoot enough free throws to qualify for the ACC league leaders.
That's a big plus, Bob. When you got two guys late in the game, misses one there, late in the game that you're going to put on that free throw line, you know you're in great hands when you got two kids shooting those kind of numbers, 93 and 89.
Only 1 of 2 here for Tyus Jones. He's got 9. Georgia Tech can't get over the top, but at the same time, they've never allowed Duke to shake free as the lead is still at 6.
They want to be in the game when you get down to winning time, the last 3-4 minutes.
Jorgensen, mid-range jumper, off the mark. The tip follow, though, goes inside for Ben Lammers, his first bucket.
Lammers on the glass there, the big fella on the inside with the tip, and that's one of their strengths, offensive rebound.
He's only a freshman. Winslow hangs in midair and draws the foul on Lammers.
He's a freshman, but he's a man. He's a man, Mr. Winslow.
Speaking of which, there's the #1 player in our ESPN 100, Jahlil Okafor on the bench. Justice Winslow was the #15 player in our ESPN 100 to go along with Tyus Jones, who was #4, and Grayson Allen, #21. That's the recruiting class that Mike Krzyzewski brought in for this year.
Paul Biancardi does a great job, ESPNU, with their recruiting analysis.
Well, for fans of game-changing guards, this is your game in the NBA. Chris Paul and Lob City head north of the border to meet Kyle Lowry and the Raptors, and then a finals rematch between the Heat and Spurs. Clippers, Raptors at 7 Eastern. Heat, Spurs at 9:30. That's the NBA doubleheader Friday on ESPN.
As Popovich said today in USA Today, we're starting to get that feel. We're starting to round into shape. He's amazing what he does year in and year out with that club. Trying to set some big screens.
Bolden's pass deflected, but recovering is Mitchell. Bullets one cross court. Can Jackson hit a three?
No!
He can!
Wow.
Todrick Jackson. And that's big news if you follow Georgia Tech basketball.
That's a scoop right now when you look at his numbers. But he made the big play. The coach hung with him.
Todrick Jackson was 5 for 53 shooting threes this season before that bucket. And there's Travis Jorgensen. It's a one-point game.
Tell you one thing, these Georgia Tech kids aren't going away, man. Pull your friends up. Could be upset city. Get the potato chips out, the peanuts. Get ready, man. This is going to be special coming down the stretch.
Jorgensen just fired up the Cameron Crazies with a floor slap.
Nice pass.
Rolls it off the rim. Lammers is fouled.
They are playing so hard, Bob. They are playing so hard, Georgia Tech. You don't think that this club was 1-8? They're coming in here hungry, man. Oh, look at Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, not Reggie Jackson. And what about Jorgensen? This is a good one.
Georgia Tech came into tonight last in the ACC, shooting 26% as a team from three. And Dick Vitale, there they are at 5 for 7, keeping themselves not in this game, but within striking distance, down only one.
Well, there's really the chance that you have. You got to make the three. You got to have a special night, and they're having a special night. Whenever that happens, that's how upsets happen.
Jorgensen threw up a wild one.
Yeah, wild play right there. Got to stop transition. Got to stop the ball.
Tyus Jones gave it away to Jorgensen. Great job in transition defense.
Jorgensen did a great job anticipating.
Jackson's feeling it. That's off the mark. With Dickie V, I'm Bob Wischusen. 10.5 minutes to go here at Cameron. A one-point game that not many expected to be this close as Chris Bolden commits the foul. The backdoor cut for Matt Jones. That's the second on Bolden.
Well, this series has certainly been all domination by Duke. Duke has dominated the series. Last time Georgia Tech beat Duke was in 2010. The last one at Cameron Indoor Stadium in 2004. Jared Jock had a big game. Snapped a Duke 41-game home winning streak, which was snapped this year again by Miami.
And remember, if Duke wins this game tonight, Mike Krzyzewski passes Dean Smith for most wins in ACC conference play history. It would be his 423rd, and there's Jahlil Okafor in double figures. He's now cracked double figures all 22 Duke games this year.
Well, the freshman that has the record is Johnny Dawkins with 23. I think that record's in jeopardy. When in doubt, they go inside right to Okafor, and he comes across the lane for that deuce.
Mitchell around Winslow. No. Okafor with a one-armed rebound.
Little danger time right now, possibly for Georgia Tech. It'll lock it up defensively. I believe they're going to go back inside again. Go right down to the post. Look at those hands. Look at those hands. He wants to take him one-on-one. Going to drop step.
Foul called on DeMarco Cox. That's his third.
Johnny Dawkins, what a player he was. Son doing a nice job at Michigan. Johnny was really the catalyst that got it all going for Duke. When they started to make that run. Went to the Final Four in '86, had a great team when Jay Billis was on that club. Great job, Johnny Dawkins and company. Got beat by never nervous Purvis Ellis.
Okafor across the lane, comes up short. Gets his own miss, fortunate bounce, and he's fouled again.
He's turning it up a notch right here late in the game, Bob. He's turning it up. He wants the ball inside, but now he's going to have to convert on the free throw line. You're hoping he stays at that 56% ratio and makes 1 out of 2 at the most if you're Georgia Tech.
Robert Sampson commits his second. So Charles Mitchell, DeMarco Cox each now with 3, Sampson with 2, and that's the muscle up front for Georgia Tech.
He looked pretty good on that free throw right there. Good rotation, good backspin. He'll eventually become a good free throw shooter. He'll get to 68, 70%. It's a learning process. One thing when he moves on to the NBA, it'll be all basketball, basketball, basketball. Get an opportunity to shoot.
Jones tries to keep it alive, but knocks it out of bounds. Okafor grew up in Chicago, went to Whitney Young, and was offered a scholarship by DePaul when he was in 8th grade.
Why not?
Why not? Try to get in early.
I'll tell you one thing. He's a terrific kid away from the basketball floor. Everybody raves about him. Georgia Tech needs a good possession right here.
Georges Hunt gives it up. Heath on the drive, slapped away, right to Georges Hunt, and that's knocked out of bounds. 13 to shoot. And Dick, Marcus Georges Hunt is still sitting on only 4 field goal attempts before this possession. He has to do more, you would think, doesn't he?
He's got to do a better job getting free for the ball, but Duke has to get credit trying to minimize the times he touches the ball.
He's now 3 for 5 from the field.
He's got to be a little bit more active without the ball. So many guys do really well when the ball's in their hands. They got the rock, but they don't know how to move without the ball.
Foul called on Tyus Jones, and that is the 6th team foul on Duke and the 2nd on Jones.
Yes. They want the contact the other way.
In the NHL, that would be 2 minutes for embellishment.
What's the NHL? Is that hockey?
I think so.
I don't know. Red lines, blue lines, green lines. I can't follow that.
Just the red and the blue. They don't incorporate green much.
No green, except green with the paycheck.
That's right. Here's Georges Hunt. This time he turns it over. Traveled in the post.
He's really having a tough evening. Came in here, last 3 games, better than 20 points every game. Playing so hard just to stay close, Bob. They can't get over that little bump. They can't get over it. Put pressure on himself to really have to keep making good defensive plays. Duke showed some poise. This kid has loads of poise.
Quinn Cook, NBA range, off the mark. Okafor keeps it alive. Knocked it away from Sampson.
Size did it right there. Size, the big hands, good timing.
Tyus Jones on the drive. No. Georgia Tech down by 4, and they've got it under 8 minutes. Georges Hunt from the corner. Hits a 3. We've got a 1-point game.
Georges Hunt gets free on that baseline. Wide open, shows his scoring ability. We got a 1-point game, my friend. We got a 1-point game. So many people told me, you better have all your stuff, man. All the stuff material. Okafor sitting down in that box. He wants the ball down deep. They're going to try and play in front of him a little, double up on him. Tough to do because Jones can shoot it from out here.
Jones will drive it instead, and Georges Hunt gets the steal.
He made a bad play right there. He can go to the goal, man. He can go to the goal.
He can't lay it in, and it's lost out of bounds by DeMarco Cox. A chance there for Georgia Tech to take the lead, but it's a 1-point game because Marcus Georges Hunt did this a moment ago.
There he is right there, squaring up for the trifecta. Their big scorer delivered.
Bounce to D'Angelo Russell, down by 2 with 4, 3, 2. Not happening. Big win for the Boilermakers. Won 5 of 6, and they take it 60-58 over Ohio State.
Well, Carl, that's the big win that Purdue got against Ohio State that Georgia Tech keeps looking for. They have a chance, Dick Vitale, to keep moving the ball around like they have.
Well, they're good ball movement right there. They're playing so hard. Nice little bounce, 2-man play for the jam by Cox. There's Jackson, finally hits one. He's been struggling all year. Nails one, and Mr. Georges Hunt delivers.
With Dickie V, I'm Bob Wischusen. Coming up on 7 minutes to go here at Cameron, and Duke in a battle that they probably didn't expect. A 1-point lead against Georgia Tech.
This would be a bad loss for Duke. They lose this game here. This would be a bad loss when you're thinking about trying to win the ACC regular season. Play a team 1-8. You got to put them away on your floor right there, and that's the way you do it. Great drive by Cook. Cook and Jones make big plays late in the game. They've been doing that. St. John's game, they did it Virginia. You got to answer right now if you're Georgia Tech.
Marcus Georges Hunt comes up short. Winslow's got the rebound. He's got Cook out of the field.
They got numbers.
And it's a chance for a 3-point play for Quinn Cook.
In about 15 seconds, man, they put a quick 4, go to the foul line for 5. So quick it hits you. Bam, bam, bam. There's Winslow getting it out. Finds Cook, and Cook knows how to finish. He knows how to finish. Now you're totally in danger time if you're Georgia Tech.
A very rare miss for Quinn Cook at the line. And a foul called on Emil Jefferson on the free throw miss. That's his 4th. And that will put Georgia Tech at the line at the other end, as both teams now have 7.
Well, you get a chance to get 2 here without the clock moving. Free throw's so big, so many times you talk about how that's a difference maker late in the game.
Tipped around. Can Okafor save it? He did not. Stepped on the end line. So off of the free throw miss, a break for Georgia Tech. They keep possession.
Very dangerous trying to throw that back on the court unless you're aware that your teammate's standing there. Because you're throwing it under the basket of the other team. He spotted his teammate. He was on the line. You know, you're Georgia Tech, you're tired of hearing about the great effort, the double overtime loss to Notre Dame, the one to NC State, the one to Syracuse. I mean, you're just tired of hearing that. The moral victories aren't going to get it done.
You want to win a game.
You want to win a game.
And they showed what they're capable of when they shot the ball well against Miami and beat them by 20.
I was shocked when I saw that score. That was a shock of the week on my website. 20 points on the road. Same team that beat Duke by 16, bad pass. Here goes another jam, and the Cameron Crazies jump with joy.
Jorgensen turns it over. Winslow finishes. Brian Gregory calls timeout. A Saturday night. Billy Donovan's Gators trying to stop the pursuit of perfection at 9 on ESPN. Saturday, the home court of college hoops is Dick Vitale. Then there was one with Duke taking down Virginia this past Saturday. Kentucky is the only undefeated team left in major conference basketball.
Well, you know, Kentucky right now, I think in the SEC, I've said from the beginning, I didn't think they'd lose. I'm going to hold to that. It's not an easy game down in Florida. Gators are desperate. They lost to Vanderbilt. They need a win badly. They got a couple of guys that can shoot, can make those threes. Frazier, Dorian Finney, and if they do that, they can make it interesting down there against the Cats.
The 5-man floor slap fired up the Crazies. Let's see if Georgia Tech can respond.
They zoned it right now, too. Came out, they went out of the man. They're in the zone. They're in the zone. And they know they're not a good perimeter shooting team. First time we've seen zone here tonight.
Nice touch pass. Mitchell couldn't handle it. Here's George's Hunt. Gives it up to Bolden. He hits a 3 with 1 on the shot clock.
That's 4 he's made today. And he has not shot well all year. Had potential to shoot it. Maybe he can live off this. You talk about big possession and answering. And now they're going to come up with a big defensive stop. What a great move.
Winslow fouled by George's Hunt.
He's an explosive guy to the basket. He really gets to the rim. He's going to get down to free throws. Duke makes free throws, they're going to be in great shape. If they struggle on the line like they did against Notre Dame, this could go right to the wire.
You mentioned, though, the shots by Chris Bolden tonight. 4 made threes in this game for Georgia Tech. He has not had a game this season where he's made more than 3, and he's only done that once. He made 3 threes in the nail-biter loss back in mid-January to Notre Dame. This is the first time this season that he has made more than 3 threes in a game.
That was a double overtime loss to the Fighting Irish. There it is. They come up empty. 2 free throws. That was their Achilles heel, as Al McGuire would say, against the Golden Domers.
Duke's now 10 for 18 at the line.
Patience right now. No panic. Run their sets. Guard enters to the wing, cuts through the defense, post on the box. Got to want the ball, got to step to the ball. Cox had 0 in the first, had 11 points here in the second half. John Madre, who does a great job for us. Stat man, experienced, veteran.
Not a diaper dandy.
No, he told me he was there doing the stats the game I did when Sampson played Jordan. I think my producer was John Wildhack, now our boss. I think we had Jim Simpson on the call.
Shot clock down to 8. Jorgensen sets up Cox. He can't connect.
Wide open shot. You got a good shot. Good execution. You just don't deliver. Wide open from the free throw line. Trying to get an isolation here for Okafor.
Well defended by Cox. Okafor swoops across the lane.
What a super move. That's a big-time move. That's a Tim Duncan move. He loves Tim Duncan, and I don't blame him. Tim Duncan, a consummate superstar. Maybe the best big forward ever to play the game. I know he plays some center position. Now watch this. He goes across that lane. Look at those hands. And that great step across the lane. Man, does he take space. Look at the space with that big step. That is a special talent.
When he makes a move like that, it's like when we were kids and we hung that Nerf basket on the back of our bedroom door.
Yeah, I like that.
It's amazing. He holds the ball like we used to hold that little Nerf basketball, and you can see Duke, they can dominate in the paint. Okafor's been great tonight.
Well, see, when you were a kid, they had the Nerf ball. When I was a kid, we rolled up socks, and we opened up the drawer a little bit, and I made that move across the lane in my era.
Into the peach basket.
Into the peach
basket. To climb
basket.
up the ladder and get the ball out. It was time-consuming, I know.
What a great move, though, that was, really, Bob, across that lane. That's a big-time NBA move. There is no doubt you got a scoop if you show me somebody else that'll be the first pick of the NBA draft.
Full court pressure for Duke after the made basket.
Now pressure on with this possession for a score by Georgia Tech. Trying to get a drive to the goal. George's Hunt.
Jorgensen through a double team, cross court. George's Hunt thought about a three. This time does drive to the basket, fouled by Winslow, although the Crazies disagree.
Winslow thought he made a terrific defensive play.
Coach K disagrees as well. Does Dick Vitale agree?
Well, from our position, it was tough to tell. We're way up here in the catbird suit. It looked like a good defensive play. It looked like a terrific defensive player right there.
Introducing the...
Hold on. There's Bill Walton lurking in the background. Here he comes into the shot right there. The big redhead. Ready to call Washington and Oregon.
Alongside Dick Vitale, I'm Bob Wischusen, as Karl Ravech apparently knows that I'm a BC alum. He just had a little extra turn of the knife when doing that Boston College Notre Dame highlight after BC lost in the bean pot last night. And tonight put a scare into the Irish. But Notre Dame, boy, you give them open looks, Dick Vitale, as you know, and they will knock them down.
Yeah, they can shoot the basketball. They're so efficient offensively. But right now it's big. Got to convert on the free throw line here. Make these free throws and lock it up on the defensive end.
It's been a quiet 14 for Marcus Georges Hunt. That is his per-game average. But with 3:45 to go, Georgia Tech is right there here at Cameron.
Winslow going for another double-double. He had one against Virginia. That was his first in his career. They're doubling up now on Okafor. They made a decision we're going to double him. They're tough to double up on because he'll find the open guy.
Okafor lost it on the way up. There's the 10th rebound, though, for Winslow. Cook down the lane. Gets the roll.
He gets the look, gets the score, gets the roll. Makes big plays.
All 13 for Quinn Cook have come in the second half.
Well, you know, he's a veteran player. He's played in so many big moments. And right here, he goes right down the lane. Strong to the basket. I mean, he is strong to the rim. Got the bounce to go his way. They seem to have been locked into being down 6.
The whole night.
So
5 different times Georgia Tech has got it to 1. They have never been able to get over the top and take the lead. Foul called on the floor. That will put DeMarco Cox at the free throw line.
Mike Gregory did such a solid job at Dayton. Tom Izzo just absolutely goes off about him as a quality coach, quality person. So you love you have your son play for a guy like this. Great integrity. But you know and I know in the world of college sports today, It's about W's and L's. APR is beautiful. It's 1,000. It's been out a couple years. Hope the president realizes that because they're a great academic institution.
Cox can't hit the front end of the 1-and-1. So Georgia Tech comes away empty after Okafor picked up his 3rd foul.
This is where Duke really excels late in the game. They go foul line extended, spread the court. They're going to slide Okafor down inside. Trying to get space for him down there and go one-on-one.
Cook doesn't get the roll.
I didn't like that possession right there. They shot the ball a little too quick. Should have a little more patience. You're going to let this guy drive. You're going to let him go to the basket.
Instead, a long 2 from Georges Hunt, and the long rebound to Okafor.
He's a driver. He's a slasher. Go to the foul line, create foul situations.
When he's driven the ball tonight, oftentimes he hasn't even looked at the basket. It's just been a quick pass back out to the perimeter.
Taking some time off, managing the clock right now. Duke in control, up 6, less than 2 minutes on the clock. They got veteran guards that can make free throws. Cook can make free throws, and this kid can make free throws. Jones, the young diaper dandy.
Out of bounds off Mitchell. 3 seconds on the shot clock as that ball did not hit the rim on the shot by Tyus Jones. We've got a quick timeout. A chance to look at our floor leaders for tonight, brought to you by Lumber Liquidators and Justice Winslow, working on his 2nd consecutive double-double.
Yeah, he did a perfect job against Virginia, and he's done a great job here. Very strong, very physical to the basket. Maybe he's anticipating well. Steps right in the passing lane like a defensive back. There's the score.
Winslow had not had a double-double here in his freshman season at Duke until he went for 15 points and 11 rebounds on Saturday against Virginia, and he's backed that up with double-double number 2.
Well, what a time to get it. What a time to get it in that Virginia game. Undefeated at home.
The officials are over at the monitor taking a look at the play that just occurred.
You got to make sure to give the ball. You're allowed to do that now. Late in the game to determine that the ball goes to the right team. I mean, those students, they're jumping and jumping. They were dancing. I was dancing with them tonight. I mean, I love the kids, man. They treat me like royalty. They really do. They make me feel like 12 years old.
Looks like they're going to stick with what they ruled on the floor. Duke basketball, but the ball did not hit the rim on the shot by Tyus Jones. So only 3 seconds on the shot clock. Here's a chance for Georgia Tech to get a stop with a little over a minute and a half to go and stay in the game.
They may flip it right up on top in the lane to Okafor cutting to the basket. You got to be aware of that if you Georgia Tech. Cut off his angle, take away his lane to the basket. Don't let him go across that lane. They may just look to flip it up to him.
Knocked out of bounds by Georges Hunt. That takes a second off the shot clock. Now it's down to 2. Emil Jefferson comes back in for Matt Jones.
Getting some size in there, good offensive rebounder.
Cook has to fire one up. And that's a shot clock violation. That didn't hit the rim either.
Well, good job defensively right there by Georgia Tech. Now they got to transfer that into a score offensively.
And Dick, doesn't this feel like a must possession?
Absolutely.
Off that stop?
Well, you're minute 36 down 6. Absolutely. They can't win this game if they don't score in this possession.
Georges Hunt picks up his dribble.
Yeah, picks it up too soon. He's got Jefferson playing. He's got size on him, but he's got great quickness to the basket.
Bolden converts.
He's had a heck of a game. Bolden has been their star in many a moment here. He has really played well.
16 for Chris Bolden.
He's going to go across the lane with a little change of direction. He sees the gap in the defense. He goes right at Okafor and lays it up with a little floater in the lane.
A season high for Chris Bolden.
Well, they took that must possession you're talking about, Bob, and they did something positively with it. George Scott, Price, Anderson, I mean, Bruce Dalrymple, it's just to name a few. I'm thinking these names off the top of my head, man. It's unbelievable when I think back to some of the greats Bobby Cremins had. I'll tell you one thing, if the ball goes deep to Okafor, I'd foul him. I'd make him go to the foul line. I would make him go to the foul line. if he touches the ball.
Matt Jones almost turned it over. Now it's in the hands of one of the 2 point guards out on the floor.
Who can really shoot free throws. A 93% shooter when you look at Cook. 89 with Tyus Jones, who has the ball in his hands. See, they're smart. They know where the ball should go.
7 to shoot.
I would foul him. I would foul him. I would foul him.
Okafor in and out, and Georges Hunt's got the rebound with 40 seconds to go.
But
gives it up at midcourt.
Bad pass.
A steal by Matt Jones.
Bad pass.
And now you have to foul. And Georges Hunt commits the foul.
And looks like he's putting on the line.
So you go from getting a defensive stop to a turnover to fouling a 93% free throw shooter.
Well, that's why you're 1-8 versus being on the plus side. Making silly plays, silly mistakes. The effort's there, but you got to be able to take it and go to the next level.
Team foul number 9, so it's the final 1-1.
And if you're Mike Krzyzewski, you're feeling really good to know this kid is at the free throw line.
Even though he missed his only attempt so far tonight.
That means he's going to make it for sure. He ain't going to miss 2 in a row. He's not going to miss 2 in a row. He's a 93% free throw shooter. Look at that bench, that guy right there. Behind Mike Krzyzewski with the glasses on, looks like a professor. He can shoot it. John Shire. He was a terrific shooter. Look at that splash. Soft. Great follow for Mr. Shire on that bench. Mr. James on that bench, Mr. Capel, all former Duke stars.
Jorgensen gives it up. Fumbling it, though, is Cox. Here comes Winslow. And he'll go to the line. And now the fans here at Cameron can really start to celebrate, as it looks like Duke is going to survive another really game effort from Georgia Tech, Dick Vitale, and another loss, where it looks like Georgia Tech's going to be going home thinking about what could have been.
Yeah, what could have been is the story of their year. What could have been with a little bounce here, a little bounce there. Another terrific effort. No matter what the final score is, this has been one heck of a basketball game.
Winslow's only a 58% free throw shooter. So with the lead right now at 6, Georgia Tech needs some help with some misses. But Winslow knocks down the first.
He's a good-looking freshman. Always special coming here to Cameron. Always special. You talk about people that really get excited for them. He's missed 3 out of 4. 3 of his last 4 free throws.
Looking for a long 3 is Jackson, and he's got it. Todrick Jackson with his second 3. 16.8 seconds to go, and it's a 4-point game.
Tell you one thing, he's been really quiet all year long, but he's made 2 big threes.
They may go to the monitor to see if his foot was on the line. Was it a 2 or was it a 3? While we have a chance, let's check in with Carl Ravitch.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Couple of scores here for us.
Well, that's why they're down only 4. And that's why when you look at Duke and their 2 losses, both clubs, North Carolina State and Miami, shot so well in 2 of their 3 losses. They lost to Notre Dame. Jerry and Grant had a monster game in that victory for the Irish.
So Brian Gregory is now out of timeouts.
I said it once and I'll say it again. I know people disagree with me on Twitter. I get all kinds of tweets that don't agree. I said it then and I'll say it again. Mike Krzyzewski is the best coach in all of sport today. And I preface it not only on what he's done at the collegiate level, but what he's done internationally, coaching the stars of stars. You ask those guys, Kobe Bryant, LeBron, Carmelo, what it was like to play for Coach K. And they will flat out tell you the pride factor, the passion, the understanding of the game, and getting people to play as a team. And that's all part of his military background, the same.
That gives Georgia Tech a better chance at a steal.
You're searching here, but he's going to get down to the free throw line. If they convert on the free throw line, they go home free.
Well, down by 2 possessions. Once the ball's inbounded, you probably now can't wait to foul.
No, you got to foul right away. And that's where I talked about earlier how it's such a plus when you get guys on the perimeter who are such excellent free throw shooters like Jones and Cook.
And they don't have Okafor on the floor now, wisely. As it's inbounded to Cook. Knocked out of bounds. And it stays with Duke with 11.6 seconds to go.
You think it's going to become a hack-to-shot kind of deal with Okafor late in the game?
Well, Mike Krzyzewski obviously is worried about that situation. He has Okafor on the bench to make sure that if he were to get the ball, then he's not going to have to go to the line. This strategy by Duke is close, or as for Georgia Tech, as close as this game is, trying to get a backcourt steal. They're losing precious seconds off the clock in a two-possession game.
Down to 11.6 on the clock. Terrific effort again by the kids at Georgia Tech. And that's been the story of their year, coming up short.
They're over at the monitor now to try and get a better look to see if they got the call right. And it was off of Marcus Georges-Hunt.
Officials done a solid job here tonight. Good crew. Mr. Kersey, Mr. Eads, and Mr. Lindsay.
And they'll stay with the call that they made on the floor.
Take a look at the percentages right here. You see Okafor. That's why you foul him. You know Okafor's numbers.
Obviously, you want the ball in the hands of Jones and Cook. It's lobbed into Cook. And finally, the foul given with 9.8 seconds to go.
And the 93% free throw shooter goes to the line. I guess that's why they go to Duke. 1,400 in the SATs. Unbelievable. Duke. I had 1,500. You don't believe it. I took them 3 times. 500, 500, 500.
Just added them all up.
Wow.
Duke's 13 of 22 at the line as a team. But now they have their best free throw shooter there.
Nothing but nylon. It's such a great luxury to have a player of that ability with that talent to go to the line and convert like this kid can.
And that was the 10th team foul for Georgia Tech. So the double bonus here for Cook. And he knocks them both down.
It's amazing how you got to keep the morale up in practice tomorrow. You're 1-9. You play your hearts out. You do everything your coach wants you to do, and you still come up on the loser's side.
A block by Justice Winslow. And that's the exclamation point for the Blue Devils. Mike Krzyzewski, it seems like there's always some type of milestone that he hits. He passes Dean Smith. Most wins all time in ACC play.
See, he passed the great one of the most creative minds ever in basketball, Dean Smith. Another W for Mike Krzyzewski. The beat keeps going on.
For Dick Vitale, I'm Bob Wischusen. A 6-point win for Duke. Now let's head out to the Pac-12. Washington and Oregon.